if you are having an orgasmic relationship with someone, but even if you're just genuinely just sleeping next to someone or spending a lot of time in someone else's biofield, someone else's energy field, you start to co-merge. Your mirror neurons start to fire up. You start to take on somebody else's energy. So when we talk about addictions and addictive behaviors, I'm going to get to the very deep psychology of why we get addicted in the first place. And as a, I've had my fair share of dumb fuckery. So I'm not preaching, but sexual responsibility encompasses, first and foremost, taking care of yourself. If you are not good on the inside, if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, you are going to transmit your misery. Advertently, inadvertently, the people who are surrounding you, the people who spend a lot of time with you, especially intimately, they are going to, just by nature, even if they are not a particularly empathetic being, just by how our biology works, they are going to co-resonate with you. So a mature form of relating, or a mature stage in a relationship, is where you take care of yourself first. You prioritize your relationship to your source creation point first. And when that relationship is a healthy, well-balanced, whole and complete relationship, then you are capable of going out there and have a relationship with somebody else and try to make that work. We idolize drugs, alcohol, addictive behaviors through storytelling and story selling. Media, advertising, entertainment, music, all those industries are doing a very great job at making you believe that taking drugs is cool. Obviously, they are showing the bad side of it as well. That's the third act of a movie when shit falls down. But in the first two acts, those people look fucking cool. My mother is a smoker. She's still a smoker. And I was really, really against smoking. And I was terrified of just emotionally becoming anything like my mother. And when I started smoking, I was like, fuck, I'm turning into my own mother. And it terrified me. But at the same time, I was like, I look fucking cool. This is fucking amazing. I'm fucking loving every second of it. It hurts so much. I cannot breathe. My lungs are shit. I cannot move. I don't feel like doing anything. I'm completely unproductive. But doesn't it just feel fucking amazing? So the Marlboro Man, the actor who played in Marlboro commercials back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the Marlboro Man died of lung cancer. I believe he died of irony as well. We're not taught that these chemicals, substances, even if we believe that they look cool, they do incredible harm to our system. When we take mind-altering substances, when it doesn't just affect your 3D physical biochemistry, but it also opens you up to all sorts of psychoactive states. Even those, when you reach enlightenment, when you reach higher dimensional states, what you're actually doing is you're exciting your genes, your DNA, and you are firing DNA codes out of sequence. It's like you climb up a ladder, and instead of going step by step, all of a sudden you take a massive jump, and you're just able to catch a rung high up, but you don't have any steps underneath you. So as long as you can hold on to that one rung, maybe you can pull yourself up a little bit, maybe not, but as soon as you let go, you're falling. That's what drugs are doing to you. That higher dimensional, when I say higher, it's not a hierarchical higher, it's not a moral higher, it's a more complex frequency state. So more complex frequency dimensions, they have almost like they're more heavyweight, that they have heavier frequencies. So when you start activating higher dimensional frequencies, it's like you start building a house from the roof down. If you don't have a foundation for that house, it's going to collapse on you. And it's called molecular compaction, that you can compact your molecular structure on a DNA level, that if you keep exciting those higher dimensional states without building a frequency bridge, an internal embodiment of frequencies from the lower frequencies up to the higher frequencies, if you don't have that bridge, then you are not just collapsing your house, you are literally burying yourself under the ruins. You will have a much harder time to clear out the shit, and then you can start to build your new house. It will take some time for your body to actually recover from the damage that you've done to your system. Now, things like this could sound so preachy if I wouldn't have shared all the shit that I've done to my system. When I talk about alcohol, still to this day, it's just a reminder for myself why I shouldn't finish more vodka bottles. Seriously. Still, part of my body is craving alcohol, drugs, the state of being not sober, because I was hating my life sober. And it gave me just a little bit of relief to emotionally disengage from these states of feeling really enclosed, really encapsulated. I literally felt energetically and emotionally, I felt like I'm living in a prison until until I was 20-ish. I had the sense, I had the vague memory of I wanted to do something big. I've come here to do something really meaningful, really powerful, but I couldn't remember what. I couldn't remember. It's not, when you're a child, I mean, I'm sure some children are like that I have a purpose and I have a mission and I'm 7. But I wasn't phrasing it in such a way that I have a mission or a purpose to be here. I was just looking for a reason to stay alive. I was looking for connection. I was looking for anything that I could give a shit about. I was looking for someone that would make me feel like it's worth staying alive. Then I found drugs. Joking. Habits are neurological pathways as a physical manifestation. Energetically, they are working somehow similarly. Energetically, you are literally changing your geometry. You're changing the way that your light cells are moving, communicating with each other, the way that your 15-dimensional biology is geometrically structured. And those geometric structures then translate as chemicals, hormones. So on a 3D level, they translate as neural pathways. So you are, and it works both ways. Communication is an open system. It's not like you cannot talk to God and God will talk down to you and somebody will give you a set of instructions of how to live your life. You also are influencing the way up. So when you keep practicing something, you are giving yourself direction. Nobody else does. It's you. It's only you. You've got to take the responsibility for it. If you are the dumb cunt, you are the dumb cunt. Yes. Empathy is feeling as, compassion is feeling with. When you're feeling as somebody breaks their leg. If I want to feel exactly the way they feel, I shall break my leg. Compassion, instead of feeling as, it expands. It has a dual awareness. Compassion is very well aware empathetically of what you're feeling. And at the same time, it holds space for expansion, healing, relaxation, feeling better, easing into a more expanded state, self-consciousness from your contracted state. So empathetic beings, which most of us are, they sometimes struggle a lot because they empath feelings that they don't want to empath just by being sensitive. And they start thinking that sensitivity is hurting them or harming them in some way because it just opens you up to feeling. And when you are surrounded by people or energies or internal thoughts or beings in your field that make you feel bad, then empathetic beings can they can get into the habit of starting detaching themselves from their emotional states, from their emotional bodies. If you feel less and less, if you are less sensitive, then you might not get hurt. If love hurts, if emotions and sensitivity is putting you into a vulnerable position, then it might be better, you might be better off if you just don't feel anything. Now, vulnerability, and I've learned it in sexual situations, I fucking love this. Vulnerability is when I trust you so much that I'm willing to show my neck. I'm willing to be open. I'm not guarding myself. I'm not protecting. There's no armor around me. I'm here because I trust that you wouldn't hurt me. That's vulnerability. A friend of mine, male friend, fucking love him, was asking me that, how do you become vulnerable? Like, what does it actually mean to be vulnerable? And I said to him that you allow yourself to actually feel your feelings instead of conceptualizing your feelings. When you talk about your feelings, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're feeling them. That's why I started with the masculine and feminine distinction, because the masculine energy just by nature is a conceptualizing energy. It's a more electric, more mental body energy. So even now, when I was talking about my feelings, I didn't actually go into the feelings. I didn't actually get to the state, because I haven't gotten to the state when I was rolling around on the bathroom floor, but I haven't actually I haven't engaged with the emotional body. I've only used mental body processing, and I was quite literally bypassing my emotional body. I'm completely emotionally detached right now from everything that I'm saying, and I'm heavily aware of that. And I will soften up in a second. Empathetic beings can have a very hard time if they don't learn how to have compassion, how to cultivate compassion, because compassion is like this cushion layer around you, this protective bubble that screens or filters or transmutes the emotional sting in these states that you are empathing. So even if, when something moves you, when something makes you cry, you still have this dual awareness that I am allowing myself to feel my feelings, but I am not at the mercy of my feelings. I still have the awareness and the full ability, the full power, the full capacity to come out of those emotional states as soon as I want to. Choose wise. You do have the choice. You can literally select your reality out of an infinite amount of possibilities, probable dominions, probable selves, probable realities. You can choose whichever you want to be right now. You are not predetermined. You are not predestined. Your history is not your future. You only have the now. All we are is just pure source energy having an orgasmic experience here now.